Um, yeah, to my beliefs, the ideological beliefs that transformers do exist in the flux capacitors that take this to the next divide will really help us figure out what hypotenuse we could really believe in.
Hello, and welcome to where ideas meet intersections, where intersections meet ideals, where ideals meet philosophy, where science meets science. Welcome to That's How You Sound.
Now it's time for a segment we like to call Newsroom, where the facts are simply a matter of our opinions.
Welcome to the news desk.
This week, Denmark announced that it plans to cull 17 million mink in order to stop a mutated version of the coronavirus that has affected the population. This plan, of course, is coming around from their newly appointed Prime Minister of Denmark, Cruella de Vil.
Recent visitors to the Disney Research Campus were disturbed by the eerily human gaze of Disney's new animatronic robot. However, upon further investigation, they realized it was just Mark Zuckerberg trying to blend into human society.
In a recent public statement, Anne Hathaway has apologized after getting into hot water with the disabled community over the portrayal of a character in her recent film, The Witches. She apologizes if her portrayal of a differently limbed person has hurt or caused pain to anyone. However, the disabled community quickly let Anne know that her portrayal wasn't upsetting to them. They just thought her movie was mad tarded.
Archaeologists have recently discovered fossils suggesting that dinosaurs have traveled across the oceans. Speaking of dinosaurs across the ocean, apparently the queen is still alive. Really? Like, was Betty White still around, or has evil finally won? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, Betty White's still alive. The soul for humanity continues to go on.
In other news, Oregon police have reminded residents not to dial 911 if they've run out of toilet paper. Clearly, these officials have never eaten the party pack from Taco Bell.
Metin Aaron, a Harvard University student who crafted a knife made out of human feces, was among the winners of this year's IG Nobel Prize Awards. When accepting his speech, he said to the audience, "Pee pee poo poo check."
Despite pushback from Europe's largest farm association, the European Parliament has now allowed vegetarian meat alternatives to use meat-like terms, including burgers and steak. This is another win for veganism and another step towards damnation. Welcome to That's How You Sound, a podcast for purely educational reasons.
And no other reasons.
And if you are here for the education, you've already made the wrong choice, so you might as well stay.
But if you actually are here for the education, you might learn something.
It might be accurate.
It's possible.
It might not be accurate, but it might be also accurate, but probably not. All right, so this week we have woke culture versus the American mythos.
I mean, it is what it is. Woke culture is trying to rewrite the narrative of what the American mythos is. By the American mythos, we're talking about just like, your folklore, your general pop culture that's come up over the years. Every country has their different tales that they tell. And because of the way media exists, we have a lot of different things that have come up via TV, movies, music, comic books. But because of the way the world is now, people trying to say like, oh, it's the cisgendered white male has kind of dominated the culture over the years. They're trying to change things, but the problem is they don't have anything interesting to say with their changes. They're just trying to change it. And so it's turning everything into trash.
And what we mean by woke is you, Karen. We mean you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Who needs to speak to the manager?
Yes.
shaking her fist at everything.
So I have a little bit of the back history on the woke, the etymology of the actual phrase, the terminology.
Oh, hit me, please.
Of woke. Is actually an interesting background. So the term wide awake in a political context, its first occurrence was actually in a support and ads of Abraham Lincoln, oddly enough. So it has its rootage in the movement to end and oppose slavery. That's where the term wide awake actually started from in his ads running. Then I think it was, let me see if I remember this correctly. Yeah. So in the 40s, a worker was quoted in a journal, United Mine Workers in 1940. And he said, let me tell you, buddy, waking up is a damn sight harder than going to sleep, but we'll stay woke up longer. Right?
Okay.
Okay. And that is, I think, one of the first recorded of someone saying it. Then in 1970 or 1962 and 1970 in Oxford dictionaries, they had a politically conscious usage of it as the first time it was used in a political thing since Abraham Lincoln, where it specifically said woke. In the article, it said, if you're woke, you dig it. Very 70s.
Yeah, very 70s.
You dig it. And then in 71, he said, saying, now that Mr. Garvey done woke me up, I'm gonna stay woke. Right? So then that's the earliest 20th century. Contemporary usage, this is very interesting. First known contemporary usage is 2008 in a song called New American Part 1 by Erykah Badu.
Okay, yeah.
In 2008. And she says the phrase, I stay woke.
I stay woke. Yeah.
And then at that point, when that song came out, it had no connection to like social justice or those justice issues in the mainstream. But later, she used, and I think in Twitter, she used the hashtag Stay Woke, and they were using it to support a feminist movement, and then that started the ball rolling of the Stay Woke movement. Yeah. So that is the sort of etymology of the term woke.
I feel like it's not that I don't disagree with the message, because slavery is bad, oppression of women is bad, but when I'm taking interest in stuff that's not applicable to real life, i.e. like movies depicting fantasy, usually in the sci-fi narrative or the fantasy narrative completely unrelated to the society that we live in now, you don't need it.
Well, I think the problem is not necessarily always the message, but how they're getting that message across.
Yeah.
And sometimes the extremity of the message, like how extreme they are in their opinions.
And the lengths that they will go to try to rewrite the narrative and say, no, it's always been about this, and the what you believe that you've grown up with all these years has been wrong the entire time. And I'm like, Star Trek hasn't been wrong the entire time. Star Wars hasn't been wrong the entire time. Star Wars was written without all these concepts even existing.
Right.
People forget that. I mean, the world of Star Trek was supposed to be the world where there was racial harmony. They got rid of money because capitalism was not an important thing. So when you take these crafted worlds and start trying to put in these two now real world narratives into them, you break them. You break them horribly. I mean, the greatest sufferer of this is, on number one, it has to be Star Trek. Star Trek is dead now. Star Trek is so dead that old Star Trek merchandise isn't selling because of how dead the brand is.
Star Trek got double tapped, that's for sure.
I mean, people will say the Kelvin movies, which is the reboots that J.J. Abrams did, were all detracting from the spirit of Star Trek. But I think the spirit of Star Trek is still just there, just made it a little bit more action-y, just for narrative, but it doesn't have all this like real world problem being thrown into it. But these newer series that have been running from CBS, when CBS decided to revitalize the franchise on TV, bringing in with Star Trek Discovery, which is now called which the shorthand is called STD, which is exactly what it is because it is an STD. The bringing back Picard from the new generation, but in a world where the Federation is this vile force because of politics or whatever that wouldn't exist in the Star Trek line. And even the little cartoon series that they have coming on, the Star Trek Lower Decks, that's just kind of like not really funny. But between those three shows, like Star Trek has just destroyed itself.
Yeah, Star Trek has taken a huge dip, and a bunch of other stuff that we all love is taking a huge dip, and not for the sake of like any reason other than people pushing their own personal agenda.
And it's like, okay, you have your personal issues, fine. You cannot touch the media that we've enjoyed for literal decades of time.
I think
it's
honestly,
not necessary.
I think in my opinion, it stems from people overvaluing who they are, like how important they think they are, right? So instead of just showing up and doing your job and making entertainment, which is what you do, like at the end of the day, you're making silly pew-pew to make people happy, right?
You're right.
That's what you're doing. It's not, right? They view it as like, I have this platform and I am Jesus in the second coming. Like I am the savior of the world. I must, and like, there's nothing wrong with trying to like do positive things, but like at the end of the day, you're not getting positive results from it. You're just tanking things that everyone loves for your own personal, pat on the back, or just trying to make your own legacy at the sacrificing everyone else's childhood on the chopping block to do it.
That's really what it is. It's about trying to make a statement and put your own self out there.
It's not about the actual issues. It's about them being popular and being seen to go against those current social issues. It's all about the person. It's not about the actual message. That's the problem with the woke culture.
Yeah, and if you want to do that, fine, but do it on your own time. Do it on your own brand. Establish your own series or whatever, your own book, your own TV show, your own movie, and then run your narrative. Don't take stuff that has existed for years, that fans have grown up with, that everybody loves, and try to pick it apart to try to interject your statement. Your statement didn't belong there.
Yeah, they're just throwing their stamp on everybody else's work.
I mean, the Force is female. What is that? Number 2 on the list of the hit of woke culture, obviously Star Wars.
Star Wars took a hit, but it wasn't as dramatic as I think Star Trek.
I don't think it's as dramatic because as bad of a hit that Star Trek took from a movie franchise, you still have good Star Trek content that exists, which is The Mandalorian. Mandalorian saved it.
You mean Star Wars?
Yeah. I mean Star Wars.
So sorry.
No. You're wrong. Me incorrect. Me said wrong word. The fans would kill me.
That's sacrilege. Yeah. You can't say Star Trek. We're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, we've moved down. Let the brain go. But yeah, like Star Wars content still exists in a good form, and because you have, and again, that comes back down to the people who are making this content. They're not trying to push their own personal beliefs. They're saying to themselves, "What works for Star Wars? I like Star Wars. I want to make good Star Wars. I want to tell stories that I can craft in this world without trying to push personal things. Just what would be good stories that people would want to be interested in watching and listening, reading." And so Star Trek content or Star Wars content still exists.
God.
You're right. I'm all over it.
Dude.
I'm okay. I know why I'm doing it because I need to roll back to talk about Star Trek for a second. That's my problem.
Listen, dude, you don't want to anger those nerds.
I'm angering myself in the back of my mind a little bit, but I just figured out why. The people who are working on Star Trek material, they're not fans of the series.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. All of them that are running right now, all 3 of the current shows, they're not really fans of the series. They're taking, people like Picard, let's put Picard in a situation, but let's craft our own narrative with it. People want to see more stuff in the older era of Star Trek. Okay, so let's take Discovery, but let's put Discovery before Enterprise and before the actual show. So now this is the origin of Star Trek. So now we can change the narrative and change it. This is how it's always been. It's like, no, that's you don't go back and overwrite a canon to try to interject your new canon to make it seem like your way was right the entire time.
Yeah, well, so I think there's a huge ideological divide all across America with the way people view and see things, and mostly it's like Middle America versus the coasts, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, it's the coasts versus the middle, and all of those production companies, all of those places, they're all on the coast, right? So their view and their agendas are all very in their bubble where they live, where that woke culture is very intense.
Right. So they're surrounded by it, but they're disconnected
They're
from
in
the outside
in a
world.
bubble, disconnected from most people who maybe don't have a problem with those things, but don't want it shoved in their face every 5 seconds because they just want to enjoy a TV show.
Yeah, they just want to enjoy the thing that they like.
Yeah.
And then you're taking the thing that they like and pushing the agenda and making it not like it. And so people are running away.
The agenda comes before the entertainment.
Oh, it's so sad.
So it's like
that's what's been happening. And because they have that disconnect, they can't see how wrong it is, because there's been various different
they're
examples
getting patted on the back by all of their friends saying, "Hey man, you did a great job." But everyone else hates it. They've ruined everyone's favorite shows.
And it's been happening across all different forms of media where media outlets and different franchises are crashing and burning because of the Go Woke movement, but now they're going broke. You'd think that they would look around them and say, "Oh, that's not working for this. We shouldn't try that." But no, they're thinking, "Well, it's not working for them. Maybe it'll work for us," because from what we hear in the little bubble that they're not aware of, people want this. But usually the people who are out and the people who are the most vocal are the ones who are the most inactive and engaging with the media they're talking about. Yeah, we want to have like representation, we want to have this, we want to have that, but then when they add those things in there, they're not tuning in, they're not reading, they're not watching, they're not listening.
Yeah,
because they weren't really interested. They just wanted to feel like they've been heard. Okay, you've been heard. Now what are you gonna do with it? You're not following through. So if you're not gonna do anything about it, don't bother talking. Don't bother talking.
Yeah, I mean, companies pretending to be like socially conscious companies, they're capitalists. They want money. They think they see an opportunity to make money. The people leading the companies see a way to like create a legacy for themselves. Like it's this whole problem.
The ironic thing about capitalists is the people who control the money that they would be receiving are telling you don't do this, and you're actively working against them, and then they wonder why isn't the money coming in? They don't understand that the audience is where it's coming from. We're not working for them. They're working for us. You know, we're people at the restaurant eating. They're the service staff, and they don't realize that if we don't come, the money doesn't show up. So all the effort you're putting in is going to waste. Which is why, like, again, rolling back to Star Trek Discovery has been reported to be the most expensive TV show ever produced in history, and the ratings are terrible. It's getting beat by like Celebrity Family Feud, reruns of The Masked Singer a season later, which the singer has already been revealed, so it's not even a secret. But people are still gonna rather watch that than go watch Star Trek. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? But the people who are like, no, the diehard fans who have kept the franchise along for years, and that goes across with Star Wars as well, across different like Marvel comics, DC comics. There's Doctor Who, which I'll get into in a minute, because that's a whole nother fire that's going on. That's my number 3 of the hit. Like they're telling the people, stop messing with it. Why can't you just be normal? And there's like that little kid in the back screaming, ah! Like the little kids are screaming woke, and it's all I don't know. It's sad to watch. It's sad to watch stuff that I've grown up with just be petered out because people are trying to overwrite my memory of what it is. You can't do it. You just have to wait for all of us old people to die off, and then hope that the newer generation sticks with whatever you want to land with.
Well, yeah, it's always a pendulum that swings. So it goes ultra conservative to ultra liberal and ultra conservative to ultra liberal. It just swings back and forth, overcorrecting all the time. So I mean, it'll change eventually.
Because right now we're just living in the timeline where it's bad.
Yes.
You just have to ride out the storm to the timeline where it's good.
Yeah. Hashtag Mandela effect.
Ah man, Bearstein Bears.
Bearstein Bears.
You know what though? There are some misprints of those old books where like it does say Berenstein, so people can be like, "No, look, this is my childhood. It was Berenstein." And I've seen some old battered books with the original prints, like 70 something, and it said Berenstein, and I was like, "Oh, you guys, man, somebody's time traveling and messing with books."
Yep. Where's Waldo? Where's Wally?
Yeah, where's Wally? Where's Wally? Yep. Somebody's time traveling. Doctor Who is time traveling and messing with books. That's what
somebody's messing with the timeline, man. Someone has no regard for the space-time continuum.
No, it's pretty bad. Yeah, so my number 3 on the list of woke culture destroying the. This isn't even American mythos. It's more British. The Doctor Who's been running.
Honestly, it is British mythos, but it's so popular here, like in the States. Like it's Doctor Who's massive here.
Just it's massive everywhere. Yeah,
it's part of our culture now. We've appropriated that culture.
They tried.
I'm putting the United States on notice for appropriating Doctor Who. United States, you're officially on notice, okay?
That's funny. One time, they tried to bring Doctor Who to the States back in the 80s. I want to say it was the 8th Doctor was going to be an American in L.A. Like he flew from Britain, he landed in LA, he got shot on a drive-by, and then he regenerated as an American dude. And that only lasted for like that one special, and then Doctor Who went away for 20 years.
Yep.
And then they brought it back with Christopher Eccleston in the 2005 run. But they alluded to the American sometime later during Tennant's run with the war. They did like a little 5-minute special where they had him come back and he reincarnates into the War Doctor, which is I love that guy though. I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
great actor.
William
Hurt. Yeah, he became the War Doctor. I was like, oh yeah, look, they acknowledged that the American was there. And so then we had, David Tennant became Matt Smith, and then Matt Smith became Capaldi, and then after Capaldi, they made Jodie Whittaker. Then had the Doctor reincarnate into a woman, and they kind of alluded to that during Capaldi's run because his arch nemesis, the Master, when he came back, was we found out he reincarnated as a female, and we didn't know until he finally revealed himself.
Which was a great character.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, they're like the Master came back as a chick, so I guess we're leaning towards eventually when the Doctor is gonna regenerate as a chick now,
which could have been cool. Which could have been cool.
Until they started they changed writers. Stephen Moffat quit writing the show. They picked up some other guy, and I think his name is Chris Kimball or something like that. And he has just been injecting woke narrative into both seasons, so that the Jodie Whittaker Doctor doesn't have a companion. She has companions. She has I think that's got Troop of 5, because why would the Doctor travel with just one person? Although he's been traveling with one person for 50 plus years, but whatever.
Yeah. Why do the thing that's been working for 50 years? So let's do something.
No. Change the narrative. Like get with the times.
Even okay, they want to shake things up. That's fine. I get it. The show's old. And they're trying to look for new ideas. That doesn't bother me. But like, make good entertainment first.
Then make good entertainment.
When it's good, people will pay attention and think deeper about what else is in there. Like,
and that's always been the problem. And they know, and again, it goes back to they know that the stuff that they're trying to.
If you want people to like accept more female characters, make really cool female characters.
Make really cool characters. Stop trying to swap people. And with the narrative that exists, because that's not what we want.
Dude, like
they lack creativity. And it's
not genuine. Their attempts are not genuine, so they're cookie cutter. They're just like insert wokeness here. What's trending on the social justice warriors of Twitter? What's trending? Okay, insert here.
Yeah, quite literally. Like they don't want to put the work in to make their own statement. I have a hot piece of item that people are interested in. I can force this onto them now because they're gonna watch it because they like it, right? So Doctor Who.
It's like the episodes are written around their message instead of the message weaved into the episodes. And like, you're not gonna win anybody over that way. You're just gonna lose fans. You're gonna tank the show, and then you're gonna have to get a job somewhere else where you can tank that too.
And that's what's happening with Doctor Who, because this last end of the season, has tainted the show.
Yeah.
A, they decided to
No spoilers.
reveal. No spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Okay, well, they did a thing, and y'all can go look up. The episode is called "The Timeless Child." It's the season finale of season. What season are they technically on right now? 15, with the 14th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. And by the time you get to the end of that episode, if you don't feel like everything that you knew about Doctor Who was wrong, then you didn't get the message that they wanted to give you. Basically, it boils down to that point. And then even next season, they're going to be doing some more stuff. There's talk that they're going to make the Doctor's character bisexual. Like, they're finally going to address the sexuality of the Doctor. I'm like, what?
Why does that need to be addressed?
He's
never the least sexual being on any TV show ever.
I'm like, he's only ever really had interest in one person, and even then, it didn't happen because he's like, I'm the Doctor, I'm not a regular human. And then they made an episode where he wound up getting cloned and he had a human version of himself. So the human version of himself went off with the person, so the Doctor can keep being the Doctor and resolve for the other character, not for him.
Yeah.
So, like, why do we need to? What?
Because why not? Because why not?
The whole thing with him, the Doctor, and the oh my goodness, I can't remember.
River Song.
Yeah, River Song, because she's also a Time Lord because she gets regeneration ability. But then they're meeting each other in reverse time. So when she first shows up,
that was great.
Yeah, when she first shows up, she dies. But then she keeps coming back in the show, but she keeps coming back in backwards time. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're crossing time in opposite directions. That was actually beautifully written.
And again, that's interesting story first, and then character building.
Great female character.
Yeah, great female character because you built a great story around it, not just trying to inject a problem. And like Marvel, DC right now is having the same issue. Marvel a couple years ago, they tried like the all different Marvel where they rebooted the universe again because comics are weird and sometimes you just do that. And instead of creating interesting characters, I guess they figure, well, we're like, our resources are so tapped out and our characters are so well known, it's hard to make new characters that people will care about. So we'll just take existing characters and we'll just swap out their people, and now this person's Iron Man, now this person's Captain America, this person is the Hulk, and the Hulk changed people. He's not even Bruce Banner anymore. He's an Asian kid.
Joke,
like you just changed the Hulk, and then they eventually like wrote that back. So now he's Hulk is Banner again.
Yeah, well, it was he was like the second Hulk or something like that.
Yeah. Like, so now Jane Foster has the hammer, so she's Lady Thor, and Thor's walking around with his busted arm. Like, oh no, okay, I can understand some characters who don't have a power, and like the suit is kind of like representation of the person. You can swap them out. Like Steve Rogers, okay, he's a super soldier, but he's really Captain America. He can be not Captain America and still doing things while somebody can represent that. But like, Iron Man is Iron Man, and even if you change Iron Man and gave him a different suit, they wouldn't be called Iron Man, which the character isn't. She's called like Ironheart.
Ironheart, yeah.
And there's another character coming in who is an older Marvel character who's going to be like in Iron Man's place, but they're still going to call him Iron Man. But DC is doing a thing where they're just going to start introducing other characters from different their different multiverses. They're doing something called Future State, and they're introducing different versions of characters. We know, it's like, I think they're going to get a Black Batman. Like, there's gonna be like one universe where Luke Fox is going to wind up being Batman. There's gonna be introducing a different character for Wonder Woman, and then they're introducing a new Flash from like Earth 16 or something like that. And instead of instead of writing good stories and letting context of the stories get into the context of the character, no, they made a straight up press release out front that's saying introducing a new non-binary gender fluid Flash character. And I'm like, people know who the Flash is, so you're just banking on people reading the Flash. And he's not even Barry Allen, he's some other name, and his name is Kid Quick, because that's a great superhero name.
I don't know, man.
Like, whatever. But But I mean, you went out of your way before the event has even started to make it clear this Flash character is non-binary and he uses they and them pronouns. It's like who cares?
Yeah,
it's comic books. Who
Yeah,
cares?
They just want the
Bat,
pat on
you
the back.
know how long I didn't know like Batwoman is gay and I don't care, but they didn't run it into her face. It just would come up in her stories.
Right.
Okay. This is part of her character. The character doesn't define the hero status, but now they're trying to say like, no, this is what defines the hero is their traits, their race, and
it's more important
in their gender and specifics.
Like how they identify in gender is more important than the character building or who they are. Like it's just like why are we even making stuff anymore?
Yeah, I'm like, Batman's a great character. Yeah, he's a normal white dude with no powers, but everybody loves him. Why? Because the stories are really good.
Dude, he's bad. Yeah.
If you just write really good stories, people will care about the characters that you're creating, and then they'll understand about the characters as you put it in. But if you try to front load it, you're automatically turning off the audience who's going to read it, because the audience who's going to read it doesn't care.
So
they just want to read a good story, top hits, and you're not writing a good story first.
Top hits from the woke culture that have taken on. Star Trek's taken the biggest hit. Probably most noticeable.
Star Trek. I would say Star Trek's the biggest hit. Star Wars is right behind it. Although Doctor Who might move up to second because everybody apparently in BBC is canceling their TV service.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, we're so upset with this, we're just not going to watch it anymore.
I would put Star Trek, then I would put Doctor Who, then I would put Star Wars, because I feel like Star Wars, they have been less in your face about it. They were more so. Disney's smarter. They are a company that makes money.
Yeah,
they know who they're making money from.
Disney tried to weave it in the narrative, but it didn't land on its feet. It didn't land feet. But
Disney isn't.
They attempted.
They're not wild about the aggressiveness of the woke culture, because a lot of their old animation and a lot of their old stuff has some unwelcome themes in it.
Oh yeah, never forget Fantasia, man.
or the crows from Dumbo, or
see, I didn't even mind the crows from Dumbo, and look at me. Yeah, I thought they were great. I thought they were okay.
Right.
But again,
like, all that stuff is absolutely taboo in woke culture. So
that's the other funny thing about woke culture.
If woke culture disappeared, Disney would have no problem.
Like the people who are trying to chant for are usually the people who can't relate to it. So why are you even bothering? Because the people who are supposed to be offending aren't being offended by it. So if I'm not being offended by it, why are you?
Yeah, no one's asking you to jump in front of that proverbial bullet.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to take this bullet. Yeah, I'm not asking you to take this bullet for me. Washington Redskins, the
Native American
culture were fine with them.
We have so many more problems that we care about, and this is not on the list. Why are you doing this?
I remember reading an article.
But a bunch of white housewives were like, no, we need to go onto Twitter and stop this horrible thing that the actual people don't care about.
Like, I remember reading a bunch of articles where they're just like, oh no, it's interesting that we find it nice that we have like representation, and a funny thing was most of them who said like, oh no, I hate the Redskins, they were Cowboys fans, so of course they would. It wasn't about the name, it wasn't about their being represented negatively. It's just like, oh no, get that team out of here, the same division, like we hate those guys for years. But now the Washington football team, whoever they're going to be, I still think they're going to be Washington football team next season too.
Yeah, I think that's just what they're going to be
proper until 2022. Whenever.
You think they'll rename?
I think so. Yeah. They said they're renaming, but it's been so interesting trying to get all of the merchandise ready for whenever they do come up, that they said they won't be done by this season, and they might not be done ready by the next season either. So next season they'll still be Washington football team, and then by the 2022-2023
Wait, what if they tanked their own team and threw their own team name under the bus just so fans have to rebuy all their jerseys and stuff?
Obviously, man, but you know, like Washington gear now is going to be like worth a fortune. Like my dad's wall that has all the Washington Redskins gear on it. Yeah, I said it.
I'm putting your dad on notice.
Like worth cash.
I'm putting your dad on notice right now. Okay, he has memorabilia that is offensive, and he's on notice.
Meanwhile,
my
mother is stinking eagle.
But also,
she gets to have her wall 'cause they finally won one.
I'm putting myself on notice because he's a man of color and I am a man not of color, so I should not be able to put him on notice. So I'm putting myself on notice for putting him on notice.
It's fair. Checks out.
Math checks out, sir.
So yeah, we got Star Trek #1, Doctor Who #2, Star Wars #3, and then the Marvel and DC are kind of tied because they're both fumbling on hands.
Honestly, though,
but
Marvel and DC have always been sort of in that vein of they'll do stuff like that.
But it wasn't so bad. Like Marvel still isn't so bad. Like the comics, okay, yeah, whatever. The movies still do fairly well. Captain Marvel, I think, is a problem just because of who Captain Marvel was in the movie, not so much like what
like the comic character of Captain Marvel is super cool. Like Carol Danvers in the comics is a really rad character. Great. It just her portrayal on the movies was like she was a Karen.
Like she just could have.
They made a Karen superhero.
Yeah, she could have. She could have worked. She could have. I mean, she could have even hit deliveries better. And you can tell watching the movie, like she wasn't hitting like her marks. Even.
Yeah.
Like she felt a little bit like robotic in her movements.
Yeah, it
like
wasn't there.
Like you want like compare her movement with like Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson's hitting her beats. Compare her movement with honestly, like Evangeline Lilly in The Wasp. She's hitting her beats too.
Dude, what's her face? Scarlet Witch.
Oh yeah.
Like crazy powerful character, super cool character.
Not coming.
Great
Elizabeth
backstory.
Olsen.
Yeah. Like that's
a TV show. Hey.
That's a great female character. Like write characters like that. Dude.
Getting a TV show. Okay, yeah. So
that looks rad.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
WandaVision is going to introduce the adult version of Monica Rambeau, who is the original Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers was Captain Marvel, after Marvel was Marvel. So I think Disney may just figured out how to just swap their Captain Marvel out for a different person. I was like, oh, that's right. She was Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers was, and she's black. So there's the bonus for the woke culture. The one time where woke culture might actually do a thing correct and play us into our favor. So I was like, well, I mean, okay.
Are there any shows that just
I'll take it.
That just don't care? What are the shows that are just like, no, we don't care? Woke culture, get out of our face.
Nothing on the DC
or
side.
Franchises.
Batwoman is just like the epitome of look at us. Yeah, Batwoman. They made it very clear to up front. Oh, she's gay and she's a superhero. And then the actor Ruby Rose quit after season 1, so now they replaced her with a black girl who doesn't exist in DC, but now because of the show, I'm sure she'll be written into DC. And just recently, they had a tweet about her outfit, and she was like, we wanted to make it very clear by the silhouette and the hair that there was a black woman behind the suit. And I was like, oh God, you're doing it again. You can't just let the character be the character. You have to accentuate. Look, she's black now. Oh, yeah, see, this is the representation you wanted, right? No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Luke Cage is black. You make it matter on the stories that you're crafting. Not about the initial, like coming out the gate up front, it says nothing. Because if the show is still bad, the show is still bad. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's been any overt shows up front that have just been like, we don't care. Unless it's stuff like Netflix.
Maybe.
Anything in that area, Netflix and Hulu.
Dude,
Rick and Morty doesn't care.
Honestly, yeah, Rick and Morty doesn't care. But like I think like comedians kind of have, some of them have pushed back against that like wokeness. A lot of them have not though. I'm surprised by that. A lot of them have, because like comedians were always like, the whole point of a comedian is you can say anything because it's a joke.
Yeah, like everybody is open game.
Yeah, now there's this weird culture of you have to use your platform or your platform to like make a political point and do it. But like they're comedians. That's the opposite of
use your platform. Yeah. And if you don't use your platform, you get canceled for not saying anything. What happened to Chris Pratt?
Yep. Yeah.
He didn't make a stand. Like Chris Pratt, good Christian boy, was staying out of it, and then all of a sudden he was just getting canceled. Like, how dare you not make a comment about the political? Like, he's like, why? I'm an actor. What do you need to hear it from me for?
Yeah,
And that's the correct answer.
I dance like a silly man in front of a green screen for a living. Why do you want my political opinion? If you're listening to my political opinion, you have a problem.
That's
how it should be. That's how it should be.
And then when all the other actors like Robert Downey and all them were coming out to defend him, everybody was like, "Oh, screw you too, blah blah. And I hope you die. And I hope you're taken." Like, dude, he's not even saying anything. You're just mad because he didn't choose your side. He didn't choose the other side either. He's being quiet.
Yeah, well,
he's allowed to have a personal opinion that he can keep to himself. That's what living in America is about.
But being neutral is the most dangerous thing you can do because you're just gonna piss off both sides.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hilarious, man. People need to chill out. People need to calm down. There's more important things to worry about.
All right. You have any final statements about woke culture versus the American mythos, where you think it's headed? I think it's going to die. I think it's going to eat its own head. I think they're going to cancel themselves. They're going to put themselves on notice. Yeah, I think they're going to go too far.
It has to hit a fever pitch at some point until we're like, I think just one day somebody's just going to wake up and be like, this is stupid.
I think the money's going to dry up. I think
Disney's already starting that point. Disney came out and they made a statement and said, look, to all their staff, because for a while, like their actors and people like Larson and Pedro Pascal were being very like aggressive towards their fans for reasons, and then Disney was just like, look, we're notifying everybody that we are a for-profit company. You are not allowed to antagonize and treat bad the people who are paying for our content. Stop attacking the fans.
Yeah,
we're a for-profit company. We're here to make money. We can't make money if you're angering the people because this is the content they're coming for.
Yeah, I think Netflix is already sort of figuring that out, and I think some maybe like Prime and those sort of not like old established networks. The old established networks will never figure it out.
Yeah,
but the newer ones are figuring out that pandering to that wokeness isn't making them money, and that the money is what people want to see, which is just good entertainment, good storytelling, good content. That's why YouTube is just like blowing up.
Of course, yeah, because YouTube is just like, hey, we did a thing.
It's direct, like, hey, here's content that you want and that you want to see, and you can watch it, and it's good content, right? And if it's not good content, you don't watch it. And
it's the turnaround on critique and being able to change is like right on the fly. Because like just read the comment section. Oh, you guys like this? Cool, make some more. You don't like this? Okay, we'll stop.
If you just make things people like, you'll make money.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. And I think like Netflix is just gonna, and those they're gonna start making stuff that, and they already started it to a degree. They're just gonna make what people actually want.
Yeah.
And and when they do that and the money comes in, they're gonna not care so much, because that's all that really matters to them. Is they're for-profit companies. They want money.
They're a for-profit company. I think my final
all
statement.
This wokeness is the reason that companies are woke is because they think if they're not, it'll affect their bottom line. As soon as they figure out that it's not going to cost them money, guess what?
As soon as they figure out the money will go up instead of down,
they're not going to care.
I think my final statement on woke culture is decanonize the Disney prequel, the sequel trilogy of Star Wars.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Here's the thing: I'm such a fanboy.
Decanonize that.
I'm such a fanboy. I'm just happy there's more Star Wars.
I mean, like,
I would prefer it be better Star Wars, but I'm just happy that there's more Star Wars and that there will continue to be more Star Wars.
They can do an X-Men Days of Future Past where it all happened, but now it doesn't matter because we fixed it.
Yeah.
Just do that.
I'm fine with it. It. Or, I feel the same way about Transformers. Like, they're not good movies anymore. They haven't been for a long time. But I'm paying
but Bumblebee is
Bumblebee
there.
was actually really good. Bumblebee was really good.
If they continue on from that, they've got a good shot.
Other than like Bumblebee, the last like 3 were pretty much trash. Like the first 2 were good and everything was trash after that. But I'm still gonna go and watch it because I like robot dubstep sounds. and Optimus Prime's voice. Those are the two reasons I go.
He's been the greatest.
Anything he says is amazing. I don't care what it is. It's the ultimate voice. So I will always pay to go see for those things. And I feel the same way about Star Wars. I would prefer it be better and higher quality. But if you give me lightsabers and pew pews, I'm gonna show up.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You're gonna get my money. Yeah. You're gonna get my money.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it once. I saw Rise of Skywalker once.
If you want my support, and not just I'll buy the ticket and watch the movie once. If you want me to go watch it a couple times and buy the fan gear, then you got to make some stuff that I want to be interested in, like the Mandalorian stuff. Like, okay, that stuff's cool. I bought a Mandalorian mug the other day. Like, I'm into it. But like the Star Wars sequels, I'm not buying any of that stuff.
No.
You're not getting my money for that.
No.
You got my ticket at the movies. That's it.
Yeah, I saw Rise of Skywalker once. Once is enough.
Okay, well, no, I saw it. I saw it like twice.
Shame on you.
Listen, it was free on Disney. It was free on Disney. I'm not gonna kid you. I'm not gonna kid you.
It's on Disney Plus, and I haven't rewatched it yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I don't have any intention.
I watched it in the movies, and I watched it on Disney Plus. I boycotted Knives Out, even though I heard it was a great movie, simply because Rian Johnson made it.
I haven't boycotted it. I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet because I do want to see it.
For a long time, I was so salty I wouldn't watch it, even though everyone was like, "You got to watch this. It's a great movie." And I finally watched it the other day, and honestly, it is a great movie. And it frustrates me because, like, if you can make this good of a movie, why did you do what you did to Star Wars? Why did you do that?
Because he wanted to subvert your expectations,
dude.
Remember, that was the whole gag. That was the whole bit. Subverting your expectations.
You subvert expectations to give someone something better. You just subverted expectations to give us something worse than what we expected. That's not how you do it. You teased something that we would have loved, and then gave us something we didn't want. Instead, you should have teased something that we loved, gave us something we didn't want, and then gave us a twist that was like even better. Otherwise, you're just pissing off fans.
At the end of the day, you blame Kathleen Kennedy. She's the one who signed off on it. Yep. It was her fault.
Honestly, at the end of the day, I blame her too. And she's not noticed.
I mean, I really blame JJ for not sticking with and doing all three movies because they wanted him to do all three. And he said, no, I'm just going to do one. Yeah.
I feel like if he had done all three,
it'd have been all right.
It'd
have been all right. And if you want to put the blame even further back, they didn't have a plan. If there was a plan for 3 movies, then they could have followed that plan. But there was no plan.
I think they didn't consult Lucas enough. That's what I think.
I mean, if they consulted Lucas, we would have got that crazy Subworld Wills movies.
It would have been good.
That was his sequels, was going in the subatomic and looking at how the Wills actuate the force around stuff, and it'd been like the little microscopic thing.
I'd have been fine.
I mean, I guess it'd have been very different.
I don't know. I think it would have refreshed Star Wars, going that different and that weird, and then coming back to it after that. Imagine where we'd be right now. How much expectation we would have for the next Star Wars movie to be back to the lightsaber pew pew.
We're going in, boys.
We'd be so hyped for the Republic, baby.
For the Republic. Hey, but you know what though? We can all agree. Rogue One,
dude.
Rogue One. Good.
Honestly,
you do more movies like that. Star Wars is immaculate.
Solo was a problem only because it was a story that no one asked for.
It was a story no one asked for.
Other than that, they did a good job with it. But it was all this details and backstory that we didn't want. We liked the mystery of Han Solo.
And like it could have been a Han Solo standalone thing that explains why he got into trouble with Jabba, and just that.
Like giving his origin story was a problem, and then also making him the one who funded the resistance and the rebels in the first place. That was a problem.
Because that changes who built the
okay, so now he's the father of the rebellion that he didn't want to join, that he just was trying to get money from. Like, it doesn't make his character build makes no sense in The New Hope.
They have so many different versions of who funded the rebellion. Empire, like Rebels. The Rebels created the rebellion, but then like Han Solo funded the rebellion, but Starkiller helped to create the rebellion. It's like, no, who did it?
Starkiller's not canon.
Oh, it's not even canon anymore. Okay.
Yeah, Starkiller's not.
But still,
canon.
you still have two different conflicting stories.
Well,
of what
the way they've consolidated it is the Rebels was like a cell that helped, and then like Mon Mothra was running other cells,
right?
And it all kind of came together into one thing. But like, I don't know, they were just like, they almost nailed Han Solo. They almost did. If they had not given his full backstory as like a kid,
yeah.
And like he was already sort of Han Solo, but young up and coming like smuggler or something, that would have been perfect. Started from there, like his first trip out or something.
Yep.
Like he just leaves Imperial school. Like if they started like at the battlefield where he's already on the battlefield in the Imperial school.
Yeah, yeah.
If they started the movie from there, that would have been great.
Yeah.
That other part was no good. And then how he helped the rebels at the end was, he should have gotten scammed out of the money, because he
should have gotten scammed out of the money. Yeah,
he should have gotten scammed out of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was going to pay him back and got a little sidetracked. Not his fault.
Anyway, so that's been woke culture versus American mythos. Here at the That's How You Sound podcast, we learn you and we learn you good.
We do our best sometimes, or I should say, expect nothing and deliver less.
Hey, this is Tuna.
Hey, this is G-Lux.
And we're here with That's How You Sound podcast. We're here to represent one of our sponsors, longtime sponsor of the podcast. We don't personally wear his clothes because we also realize that things got made after the 90s.
I also like to think that we have a bit more respect for ourselves and the people around us.
And just genuine understanding that like our personal style and a hobo clothes shouldn't be the same thing. But if that's not you and you want old trash people clothes from the 90s, then go ahead and go down to Rubbish Garments at depopshop.com. You can find him at Rubbish Garments IG, and he has a Passport Vintage pop-up shop in Austin whenever the hell hipsters go out and drink coffee and eat kolaches or whatever the hell it is they do. Whenever they're punching the frames out of their glasses or twirling their mustache beards or buying weird suspenders. Whenever they're doing that, you'll find him selling trash clothes.
He's got they're good quality trash clothes.
They're the best quality trash clothes.
I have some merch I'm not allowed to wear around the house for reasons, but the merch that I do have is of high quality. He's
a high quality purveyor of vintage trash clothes, if that's, your thing.
Good times. Thanks, Blue Dog. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, Ray's about to jump in. Ray, we're glad you're here. So we're discussing like woke culture and, sort of its etymology and the sort of, divide that exists in the country between the American mythos and, the sort of difference of opinions that everyone has. We'd like you to weigh in on your thoughts.
Is that really what you guys are talking about?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
That is what we're talking about, yeah. The ideological divide that exists between people that's creating this cancel culture and woke culture. And we thought that you would have something very valuable to add to that conversation.
How it's been affecting our movies, our television, our comic books, our reading.
Yeah, sort of how it's affected
stuff.
The zeitgeist that exists.
I agree with it all.
All right, cool, man. Thanks.
Like you're in with them, or you in like with the not, but define with it all.
Yeah, to my beliefs, the ideological beliefs that transformers do exist in the flux capacitors that take this to the next divide will really help us figure out what hypotenuse we could really believe in.
It's a fair statement.